What's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we're bringing it back to the Spider-Man Rewatch Marathon with currently the last film on the list, and that is Spider-Man Far From Home. Pretty soon I'll release a rating video covering all the Spider-Man movies up to this point. I'm hoping that'll be up this weekend, but no promises now. I've had to move around things on my schedule to make room for Scooby-Doo. Anyway, Spider-Man Far From Home was the last film of the MCU's Phase 3. I loved it when it came out, but let's see if my initial response matches up to my rewatch, and I'll try not to be obstinate. Let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, obstinate. Perversely adhering to an opinion, purpose, or course in spite of reason, arguments, or persuasion, aka religious people, and the whole argument about creation versus evolution, or global warming, or coronavirus, or anything really. Spider-Man Far From Home takes Spider-Man far from home when he heads out to Europe on a class trip. His plan is simple, to tell MJ how he feels about her. This proves to be a bit difficult, however, when Nick Fury shows up with Mysterio to save the world from a number of elementals attacking the planet, so Spidey must be a hero before he can woo the elusive MJ, all the while another student is moving in on her in his place. Whatever shall he do? So yeah, I really do like this movie for a variety of reasons. I wish I could really dive deep into this film as a whole, but it's such a massively spoilery film. It's nearly impossible to actually talk about anything plot-wise without significantly risking spoiling you. So I'll refrain from most of the story. I'll just say that it has Spider-Man, Mysterio, and what they call elementals. If you're unfamiliar with Mysterio's character, I won't reveal too much about him since mystery is both in his name and in his nature. What I will say, however, is that ever since Tobey Maguire's time as the Human Spider, I've been wanting to see a live-action version of this character, and we finally have it, and it's amazing. Honestly, I'm glad that they waited until now to present this character, as they fully utilize modern technology to make him as perfect as possible. The first time that I saw the movie, I liked Jake Gyllenhaal's performance, but I wasn't under the impression that he was born for the role. But after seeing it, however many times that I've seen it, I've grown to think he does fit it pretty perfectly. One of the biggest things that drew me into this movie specifically is the chemistry between Tom Holland and Zendaya, whatever you say. I don't usually use this word, but it was cute. Their chemistry, that is. I really bought into it. It's the best chemistry, in my opinion, versus every other relationship we've seen in the Spider-Man universe of films. Better than Maguire and Dunst. Better than Garfield and Stone. Better than Hardy and Williams. And obviously better than Holland and whoever that chick was in Homecoming. In a somewhat complex and convoluted story, it's the one bit of glue that keeps me invested from beginning to end, because let's face it, it's a somewhat busy plot. Think about it. You got Peter Parker's plan to woo MJ, you got Mysterio and Fury's plan to stop the end of the world, and then you have the theme, or maybe the central question, of who is going to step into Iron Man's shoes now that he's gone. And then after that, you have another story going on in the background that I can't talk to you about because it'll spoil the entire movie. There really is a ton of stuff going on at the same time. The nice thing about the story that I can't talk to you about is that it tells the audience that it's not actually complicated. It's not busy, it's not convoluted, but instead it's all by design. It's still not perfect for the narrative structure, which still feels pretty complicated, but it's something. Again, the problem with this franchise specifically is the fact that it takes place within the MCU. I mean, yeah, if you're invested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you'll be able to follow this film really well. If you don't care about the MCU and you just want to watch a Spider-Man movie, you'll probably be confused. You would be confused with Homecoming too, but even more confused with Far From Home because of the massive events of Infinity War and Endgame. I just can't help but feel like there are Spider-Man fans out there that just want to see a Spider-Man movie and don't want to be sucked into the MCU agenda with all the MCU connections, and that's something that you have to be familiar with to love this movie. And that's something that the Maguire and the Garfield movies did very well, as did Into the Spider-Verse, as did Venom. They were all self-contained films that did not require a wealth of knowledge of a universe with 20-some prior films. Let's go ahead and skip to the final score. From an unbiased standpoint, there's one thing that is hard to argue with. This is a Spider-Man movie that stands out as different. Different because they finally have Mysterio. Different because it's not taking place in New York. And different specifically in its highly spoilery ending. Different equals creative, and in the world of Spider-Man, creative is not a bad thing. My unbiased score is 86%, and being a Spider-Man fanboy really helped my bias score all the way up to 90%, averaging everything out to a final score of 88%, 88 out of 100 possible stars, granting Spider-Man Far From Home with a letter grade of B+. In general, I think the film fits rather well in its own universe. Both Homecoming and Far From Home feel relatively similar in terms of quality, but I slightly prefer this one over the first. I'd like to hear your thoughts on Far From Home in the comments down below. Which of the Tom Holland films do you prefer more, and how do you rank this as a Spider-Man film? Let me know down below. I'll have my own ranking video up sooner than later. As for YouTube, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button if you like this review and would like to see some others like it. Hit the thumbs up button because that always helps out my channel, and don't forget about the little bell icon because that'll help notify you when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.